Dad, let me ask you, how many times have you told your kid no, only to end up giving in 5 minutes later? Be honest. I've been there many times myself. Maybe they beg, maybe they whine, maybe they throw a tantrum in the grocery store, whatever it is, you find yourself caving just to keep the peace. But here's the hard truth, Dad. Every time you back down, you teach your kid that no doesn't actually mean no. You're setting them up for a lifetime of testing limits at home, at school, in relationships, even at work someday. Today, I'm going to give you 4 rock solid tips for saying no and actually meaning it to your kids so that they learn respect, self-control, resilience. And I'll tell you why. If you get this right, you're setting yourself up for years of power struggles if you can't say no. So let's jump straight into this as we get into rule number 1. This is the final step in the series that I have been making on John Rosemond in his book, Parenting by the Book, which is a biblically based book talking about how to parent those kiddos. It's absolutely fantastic. Go back through and check out some of the other ones that I've done on other chapters. This is chapter 11. But the first rule that's really, truly important here is no means no. No negotiation. And really where this comes from is you must follow through. There's no bargaining. There's no second chances. There's no giving in. The perfect story from this perspective is Allegra. I have 3 kiddos. My beautiful, cute little 3-year-old Allegra is the youngest in the family, and she always gets what she wants, or at least she thinks she does. And lately it's been all about dessert. I want dessert, and if we have decided ahead of time that we're not going to have dessert, she steadily increases her volume, her cadence, her screaming, her insistence that she gets that dessert. I don't know about you, Dad, but if you have a daughter, it's very difficult to say no to them, especially when they're so cute and especially when they're upset. So I've oftentimes given in, and it's such a challenge to not do so. But I've found recently when I really start to dig in and say no, and no means no, that she will still cry, she'll still scream, so she'll get really mad about it, but eventually she'll calm down, she'll forget about it, and she'll move on with the evening. So it's such a challenge. I make no bones about the fact that I still work and need to struggle with this, but I have found that when I do say no, and I mean it, and I let them scream and cry, that eventually they'll get over it and they'll move on, which is absolutely huge. So the takeaway, Dad, for us, if you give in once, they'll learn that no really doesn't mean no, and they'll just continue to try harder. So next time they test you, stay firm. You can do this. That brings me to rule number 2. Say it once and then take action. This is a really critical one as well. And the key idea in this is stop repeating yourself. If your child knows they can ignore you, the first 3 times they will. And the easy way for this is what I've really started to learn is one example that you can really apply this to is getting out of the house. I'm sure you feel the same way when we need to go somewhere, you need to get out of the house, everybody needs to pile into the car, and every time you say it's time to go, it's time to leave, nobody listens to you. You say it 3, 4, 5 times. What I've just started doing lately is we're leaving in 3 minutes, and then when it's time to leave, I give them the "we are leaving right now." And then eventually I just walk out the door, I get in the car, I start it, and then I back out. As soon as they notice that you have left the house and that the car is actually running and backing out, they will lose their ever-loving minds. They'll come out screaming and crying and really, truly upset. Tell you what, that helps them, at least for my kiddos, to really cement the lesson that when I say we're leaving, we're leaving. So where can you take some of these other lessons of saying the thing and really meaning it and pushing forward and really trying that out and leveraging that with your kiddos? For me, that works really well. I'm applying it in different ways in particular, but that's the key takeaway. The more you talk, the weaker your authority becomes. So say it once and then act. Give them a little bit of a warning, obviously, but definitely move forward with that. That brings me to rule number 3, stay calm and strong. This one is really tough. Your child will push back, especially when they know that they can get under your skin. My wife struggles with this all the time. Bless her. She just has the buttons that are right on the surface of her skin that my kiddos push all the time, and they absolutely know how to frustrate her. And my kiddos do it to me too. I struggle to not raise my voice when my kids are absolutely driving me bonkers and crazy. when I do raise my voice, when I do yell at them, I don't know about you, but I always feel bad afterwards because I have hurt their feelings and it feels like that's not the way to be able to do things. So one tip that I have been able to use in the past that's really worked is when you notice that you are getting ready to raise your voice and yell at your kiddos, do what I call first just breathe. This is a cool technique that will help to lower your pulse, lower your blood pressure, and allow you to get into the moment, calm down, and address the situation in a calm, confident manner. And essentially the way that this works is first stands for fists. So if you've ever looked down in a really stressful situation and you look down and your hands are unconsciously clasped together, and you can even see some of the marks from your nails where your fists have been so tight. If you physically and consciously relax your fists, and take that relaxation, you'll start to feel a little bit of relaxation kind of course through your body. And then the second part of first just breathe is jaw. If your jaw harbors all of this tension, so if you can relax your jaw when it's feeling really tight and unconsciously tight, take your jaw, drop it straight down to the ground, shake it out. And that too will release some of those relaxation chemicals in your body. And then finally, one mindful deep breath. So relax your fists, relax your jaw, one mindful deep breath. If you do that with me right now, I guarantee you're going to feel some relaxation start to course through your body. It's fantastic. And that will give you the time to reset yourself before you scream at your kids so that you can get down to their level, look them in the eye, grab them by the shoulder, look them in the eye and say, you are not listening to me. You need to do this or there will be this consequence. Truly helps out. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think, especially about that. First, just breathe down in the comments below. But here's a tip around that too. If you do, scratch that. When you do yell at your kids, because I still yell at my kids way too much, find time shortly thereafter to pull them aside and apologize to them directly, honestly, and tell them that you made a mistake by yelling at them, that you're sorry. That itself will go a huge and long way to them forgiving you for one and moving right along with it and going right off of their shoulders. It's when you yell or you yell at your wife or you have an argument with your wife and then you don't close that chapter or close that book by apologizing after the fact. That's where those little minor yellings, those little minor challenges can start to add up and pile up and lead to worse things downstream. So that's one tip for that. Finally, that brings me to rule number 4, delayed consequences. They're okay. You know, you've probably often heard that you can't delay a consequence, i.e. a kid does something wrong, you have to give them the consequence right away, otherwise they're going to forget why they did what they did and why they're having to have a consequence right now. Now, John Rosemond says, and I fully agree, that this is simply not the case. Sure, if you've got, a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old, you can't necessarily delay consequences. But once your kiddos are 3, 4, 5 or older, you can absolutely delay a consequence to later and make it really sting. Perfect example for this, Callan. He's my middle kiddo. He's 6 years old. We have those little screens in the back of our Yukon that we drive around with, and typically we never have them on. We're parked at a location and Callan turns it on, starts watching YouTube. And I said, you are not doing that. Turn that off right now. And if you turn it on again, there's going to be a consequence. Sure enough, 5 minutes later, he has it on. He's watching YouTube, trying to watch it from behind my back. So I turned it off. I said, the consequence is coming. I said, you are not going to get any dessert tonight. Callan loves dessert. And especially when we had just cooked brownies, fresh brownies that night, it was definitely going to sting. So he knew it was coming. 4 hours later, once we finished dinner and I pulled out all of the fresh dessert for the other 2 kids, he knew exactly why he was not getting that dessert. It hurt him to the core, and he has not turned on that TV since. So those are the kind of things where if you delay that consequence, that's something that can really make a dent and make an impact on your kiddo. So something to think about. Know what they really don't want to be without. Save that one for the things where you need to delay those consequences. So that's it. Those are the 4 key components. Oh, but wait, I have a bonus. Explain later, but not in the moment. So this is kind of an interesting one, right? So if your kids are doing something wrong, they don't need a TED talk of to why you are punishing them, why are they doing things. Let the tantrum pass. Let them lose their mind. Let them have all those things. And then finally, when they're all calmed down, pull them aside, just like we talked about, and have that conversation of this is why you are getting the consequence that you're getting. They're not going to heed or hear or understand why they are being punished when they are absolutely losing their crap, right? So that's the final thing to think about. So that's it, right? No means no. Teach them respect and self-discipline and resilience. Most importantly, though, Dad, you can't be a good disciplinarian. You can't be a great father if you're not taking care of yourself first. Taking care of yourself first and foremost means getting healthy, getting fit. If you're like me and you sit at a desk all day long, it can be so challenging to find time in between when you're on calls to get over and to get a quick workout in. I get it. I've got a cool video right here that talks about ways for you to be able to fit fitness into your schedule. Even if you work all day long, it just takes 20 minutes, 3 days a week, and you can get that in, get out, get done, get fit. That way you can get ready for springtime and summer, taking your shirt off at the pool, but most importantly, you're taking care of yourself. It's this video right here. Watch it. Okay, thanks. Talk to you soon.